basically saying he's not allowed to sue and defend himself because I'm a victim. This is absurd to use that as a way to stand up for all victims. I'm sickened by the lengths she will go to, as was Brian Friedman, who responded very well, I have to add, that there was no SH.
Blake Lively sobs after Justin's lawyer releases a significant update regarding the lawsuit. And yes, it concerns her cherished hair care line. The same line she attempted to introduce alongside her booze line while using a domestic abuse film as a promotional tool.
She's a mean girl, she's nasty, she's hawking liquor and hair care products.
She thought it would be wise to launch her pricey shampoo just 5 days before It Ends With Us hit theaters because, well, nothing says domestic violence awareness like making people buy a $180 conditioner. However, it crashed harder than her PR team could clean up, and now Brian Friedman has linked that shampoo disaster to her tone-deaf mess of a year. The new findings are truly insane.
But I'm just like, it's not worth it. I'm returning every single one of her products because none of them are good. And I think all of her products in total were like $160 or $180.
People were already making fun of the manner she was promoting the film, and adding a weird hair brand only made things worse. Critics were having a field day.
Blake Brown line from Blake Lively, and I almost didn't even make this video because I'm honestly so embarrassed that I got it anyway, and I got it like the day before everything broke, so this doesn't even have to do with the drama.
They didn't hold back when Johnny Talk began roasting her untidy fried hair from the film. Some people quipped that her hair had the same energy as someone rolling backwards down a sand dune, while others said she appeared to have been struck by every limb dropping out of a hurricane in Florida.
This is some of the worst products that I've ever used on my hair.
When you're pleading with people to trust you with their split ends, this is absolutely not the type of free publicity you want. And when Blake Brown's actual reviews were finally released, it strangely became even more repulsive.
And when I tell you that my hair has never felt so unhealthy in my entire life, like what did she put in this thing?
Those who spent $160 to $180 on the entire line were not just let down, but outright incensed. Apparently, the treatments were supposed to hydrate and nurture, but buyers complained that their hair looked as dry as a bagel after 3 days.
I'm telling you right now, my hair has never been this dry in my life, and it's not just the ends. I've heard some people say it's at the ends, it's at the ends, it's at the top, it's all.
You would think that at this point Blake would take a moment to perhaps breathe, apologize, or act as though she cared. Some even claimed that their hair had never looked or felt worse in their entire lives. It got so bad that Target stores nationwide began receiving waves of returns like literal shampoo refugees attempting to flee the catastrophe.
So people have been making a lot of TikToks about it, saying Blake using It Ends With Us movie to promote her hair brand, meanwhile looking like this in every scene. Blake's hair in It Ends With Us be like Blake Lively's hair in It Ends With Us while she's using this movie to promote her hair brand.
However, she doubled on and did what every frantic celebrity does. Suddenly, desperate discounts like buy one, get one 50% off appeared, as if she were holding a Black Friday sale on broken promises.
Blake Brown Beauty. Buy one, get a second for only 50% off, guys. Now look, I know I'm sort of promoting this deal. She's probably hoping, but I promoted in that, looks like you're doing okay business-wise, Blake.
In that terrible video, it was obvious that she was losing the plot quickly, but behind the scenes, the deluge of returns and consumer complaints painted a story more messier than her hair. Online, she attempted to make it seem like everything was going fantastically well.
She's now advertising and has all these people showing off her Blake Brown hair care products, where she talks about, oh, that's a anyway. 7 years I've spent on this hair care line that apparently was destroyed by Justin.
However, the timing of Blake Brown's debut revealed how little she truly cared about the cause, which is what we were meant to support. Thus, the true issue wasn't even about the shampoo.
She's a mean girl, she's nasty, she's hawking liquor and hair care products for a domestic violence movie, saying it wasn't about domestic violence.
The entire purpose of the film was to raise awareness of survivors of domestic abuse, but instead Blake used the entire press tour to promote her ridiculous hair masks and her side business, a liquor brand. Survivors who were hoping for meaningful conversations about abuse were instead given cocktail recipes and hair serum tutorials. It was so tone-deaf that it almost felt like a practical joke, but no one was laughing.
Instead of focusing on the issues, she was so rude throughout anybody who asked about it. She didn't want to talk about it, and then she just blamed Sony. Well, that wasn't the plan, girl.
And when she was struck like a truck by the backlash, Blake immediately pointed fingers at Sony Pictures, essentially blaming everyone save her dog for the catastrophe, without even attempting to accept blame.
You took over the marketing. Maximum Effort took over the marketing. Sony was just doing whatever you asked because you wouldn't do anything unless you kept getting your demands. And now you're going to blame them and everybody else when that failed.
However, it was soon revealed by insiders that Blake herself had taken over the marketing through her company Maximum Effort. She created the ads, called the shots, and decided to push shampoo and vodka rather than advocating for actual victims.
As the comments were just ripping these videos up saying, why is she just making everyone's hair frizzy? Like, I can spend $0 and just not brush my hair when I wake up. I've never once looked at her and thought I need her hair care routine.
She attempted to act as though she was merely an innocent spectator watching the house she had built burn down when it caught fire.
My hair looks like this after a sweat sesh at the gym. And as some time has passed, the reviews are rolling in from people who have actually purchased the products, and things aren't looking the best for Blake.
Guess what I'm returning? Every single one of Blake Brown's hair care products.
And just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, survivors themselves began to speak up. They claimed that Blake had taken their stories of suffering and essentially tried to slap a $50 hair serum sticker on top of it, which was messy, avaricious, and downright damaging. They also claimed that they felt used and not in the gratitude for your service kind of way.
They do not like them. A lot of them are saying that the fragrances are really interesting, which like totally vibes. I feel like she looks like a girl who has really good smelling hair. But I want to talk about how all of these images are not marketing the actual product, they're marketing Blake. This is not the shot of strong, beautiful hair that I would want to see.
Naturally, Blake's legal team is clinging to California's recently passed Section 47.1 law as if it were the last lifeline on the Titanic. The law, which went into effect on January 1st, 2025, was designed to prevent actual victims of abuse and harassment from being overtaken by costly legal actions.
And I do not think that these images are achieving that goal.
Real survivors are in danger, not celebrities having a rough press week. But Blake is the one who made it so absurd that even seasoned attorneys and survivors are sitting there, blinking, wondering, is this really happening?
She's still using real victims of SH, real abuse, because he called her sexy. And because a dude looked her in the eyes while inviting him in to talk to him while she's breastfeeding. Like, it's crazy.
In court filings made by her lawyers, Ezra Hudson and Mike Gala Blake is making a sincere effort to claim that being referred to as sexy and receiving attention while nursing her child constitutes harassment.
But you didn't do okay. The movie did okay. You got the backlash for what you chose to do.
That's all she's saying. She is essentially attempting to convert side looks into federal offenses with a few hazy events that are thinner than one of her hair masks. No assault, threats, or any risk.
Fully believe this, and it's disgusting to see she's still using real victims of SH, real abuse, because he called her sexy.
In a statement to TMZ on March 28, 2025, Brian Friedman, who genuinely deserves a prize at this point, ripped this bullshit apart without even bothering to be kind about it.
Clearly they want to divert the public's attention from the receipts, the actual documents, video footage, and additional evidence shown that make it irrefutable that there was no SH.
He made it abundantly evident that Section 47.1 was designed for actual survivors who truly needed protection, not for Blake to act like a victim every time someone posted a TikTok about her fried hair. It was not established for wealthy Hollywood celebrities trying to avoid criticism.
Focusing instead on her hair care and alcohol products, which at the time caused the organic backlash that she received. She does not need discovery to find out who smeared her. Just a mirror will do.
Furthermore, the following day, legal expert Ron Sbrano appeared on Popcorn Planet and essentially stated, "Blake girl, you're about to make history, just not the way you think." Since Section 47.1 is so new, no court has yet to interpret it.
My God, that is an amazing clapback. It is so spot on. That is exactly what this case is about. She refuses to take any accountability for what she actually did do, which was promote her alcohol brand, her hair care brand, instead of focusing on the issue.
If Blake continues to promote this idea, there's a good chance it will go all the way to the Supreme Court. That's not the kind of headline her PR staff had on the vision board, but when you take away all the fancy legalese, the problem is much more apparent.
You can talk about ball busting with teeth and you can say all the stuff you can do, but then as you open up this environment that you declare a safe space, as soon as he says things similar to what you do, USH me, USH me.
Everyone with two brain cells to rub together can see how Blake's team is bending a statute meant to protect survivors into a shield to prevent Justin Baldoni from defending himself. Behind the scenes, advocacy groups are already in a panic, fearing that Blake's small-scale prank will make it more difficult for actual victims to ever be taken seriously again.
Here's what Blake Lively's team is declaring, okay? Blake's attorneys Mike Goltub and Ezra Hudson tell TMZ. That's right, Justin Baldoni, the man who has built his brand on supposedly speaking up for victims, believes that the First Amendment rights of victims of SA and harassment to speak out should give way to the rights of perpetrators to sue their victims into oblivion.
She doesn't need discovery to find out who slandered her. A mirror will do, and honestly, where's the lie? If you thought Blake's legal arguments were weak, wait until you hear about her so-called evidence. Brian Friedman wasted no time in dissecting that as well after the court filings were unsealed. He dropped what may have been the most savage line of the entire case.
You can do, but then as you open up this environment that you declare a safe space, as soon as he says things similar to what you do, USH me, USH me, and now you are trying to defend yourself, so how dare you to silence victims? It is truly, truly sickening.
Because Blake's team's filings are absurd, and without any evidence of covert payments or leaked emails. There were no mastermind group chats planning her demise. Merely a depressing collection of out-of-context messages that demonstrate nothing at all, save perhaps the fact that Blake needs better friends.
Mandatory word of truth. So anyway, this is clearly a big deal. And this is such a big deal that, this is much more complicated than Blake wants to. She's trying to use this as sort of I'm going to stand up for all victims, so you're going to rule in my favor, and therefore all other victims will be protected.
Her legal team filled the files with keywords like smear retaliation and digital army in place of actual evidence, believing that by using such grandiose language, people would cease requesting facts.
Well, she won that confidentiality order, and I said, and I warned, just as Brian did in that courtroom, this is going to open up to a lot of silliness. A lot of things that Blake's team is going to try to use to make a lot of stuff seem secret, confidential.
And how they filed it matters just as much as what they submitted. Blake's legal docs sound more like a terrible influencer attempting to win over the brand following a tumultuous breakup than they do like a legitimate complaint. There are heartfelt sob stories everywhere, but no real receipts.
This was filed also on Friday, not a lot of people talking about it. She's already out there declaring confidential requests for anything representing her Blake Brown beauty product.
The fact is that judges prefer emails, contracts, and concrete evidence over influencers, and practically every legal expert in the room agrees that a discovery is imminent.
Blake Brown, it's confidential. Trade secrets. We must protect the confidentiality here of this. What?
Actual finding meaning every email, text message, and contract related to this debacle will soon have to be turned over by both parties. Witnesses will have to testify under oath, and Blake's dramatic hashtag activism won't help her if she can't produce concrete evidence.
What international celebrities are in cahoots with Blake Brown?
And the icing on the cake, according to Andy Senior on April 4th, 2025, Justin Baldoni's crew is reportedly sitting there honing their knives. Justin's attorneys are so certain that Blake's prank will fail that they are already preparing for potential punishments.
What I love is the fact that she's demanding confidentiality for this, but while at the same time declaring that sales plummeted because of the smear campaign. Well, then how can you say it's all confidential?
Repercussions, such as losing a lawsuit and receiving fines for squandering everyone's time.